Right now, beneath Naples, something invisible is rising. A deadly gas that kills in minutes is spreading across Campi Flegrei, and scientists just realized they missed it completely. Last week, livestock started dying in the fields. Farmers found cows, sheep, goats, all dead. No wounds, no disease, just dead. They didn't know why. Then the tests came back. Hydrogen sulfide, H2S, a poison gas that's exploded 340% in just 7 days. Let me say that again. 340% in 1 week. Safe levels for humans, 10 parts per million. Current readings, 52 parts per million. That means the gas around Naples right now is 5 times deadlier than what keeps you alive. And it's still rising. Scientists are calling it a silent killer because you can't see it coming. You can't smell it. You can't taste it. One moment you're fine. Next moment, you collapse. Then you're gone. This isn't theoretical. This is happening right now. The government hasn't told people yet. The evacuation zones haven't expanded. Schools are still operating. People are still going to work. But the gas is already here. Farmers are finding dead animals every single morning. Veterinarians are confused. Hospitals are starting to see unusual respiratory cases they can't explain. And this is just the beginning. If these levels continue rising at this speed, and scientists say they will, we're looking at a catastrophic situation within 2 weeks. This gas comes from one place, the volcano. It means something major is happening, deep underground. Something that's forcing toxic gases upward faster than anyone predicted. Scientists are terrified. They're not using that word publicly, but behind closed doors, they're running out of answers. The bigger question, if H2S is spiking this fast, what else is coming? What else are they not telling us? In this video, we're showing you everything the authorities are hiding, the data they're ignoring, the warning signs they're downplaying. Last Tuesday morning, a farmer named Giuseppe in Pozzuoli walked out to his fields like he always does. Same routine for 30 years. He checks on his livestock, he makes sure everything's normal, he starts his day. Except that day, nothing was normal. He found his first cow dead at the edge of the pasture. Just laying there. No obvious injury. No sign of struggle. No blood. Nothing that would explain why a healthy animal was suddenly gone. Giuseppe thought maybe it was old age or some random illness. Happens sometimes, right? Animals get sick. But then he kept walking through his fields, and he found more. Another cow, 2 sheep, a goat, all dead, all in the same condition, all within the same area. Now, at this point, Giuseppe is panicking. He calls a veterinarian. He's asking questions nobody has answers for yet. The vet comes out, looks at the animals, runs some basic tests, and tells him something that still doesn't make sense. There's no disease here. No poison I can identify. It's like they just stopped breathing. Think about that for a second. 12 animals, all healthy the day before, all dead by morning. No visible cause. Giuseppe wasn't alone either. Over the next few days, more farmers in the region started reporting the same thing. Different farms, same pattern. People started talking. Neighbors calling neighbors. Families messaging each other. Did you hear what happened to the farms outside Pozzuoli? The story was spreading, but here's the thing. Nobody knew what was actually causing it. The veterinarians were confused. The local health department was getting calls, but had no answers. Farmers were scared, and social media was starting to blow up with theories. Was it a new disease? Was it poison in the water? Was someone targeting the farms deliberately? The veterinarians couldn't figure out what killed those animals. So they did what any professional would do. They started digging deeper. They sent samples to the regional lab in Naples. Blood work, tissue samples, everything they could get. And while they're waiting for results, more animals are dying. This is happening across multiple farms now. We're talking about dozens of dead livestock in less than a week. The panic is growing. Farmers are losing money. People are getting scared. And still, nobody knows why. The scientists looking at those samples were shocked. And I mean genuinely shocked, because what they found didn't match anything they expected. The animals weren't poisoned by traditional toxins. There was no bacterial infection. There was no viral disease spreading through the herds. Now, at first, the scientists thought maybe this was a coincidence. Maybe the animals had been exposed to some localized gas leak. Maybe it was a one-time thing. But then they checked the atmospheric readings from the region. And that's when things got serious. One of the scientists, I'm not going to name him because he's requested privacy, but he basically said in internal reports that this wasn't normal. The speed of the increase was what alarmed him the most. In just 7 days, the hydrogen sulfide concentration had jumped 340%. Think about that number for a second. 340% in 7 days. That's not a gradual leak. That's not a slow environmental change. That's something major happening beneath the surface, forcing gases upward at an accelerating rate. The scientist in charge started connecting dots that nobody else was connecting yet. He realized these animals were dying because they were breathing in something toxic, something invisible, something that was spreading through the air in that region. That question should have triggered an immediate alarm. It should have sent emergency alerts. It should have gotten government attention right away. But here's what actually happened. The findings were reported internally. These were questions that terrified the people who study volcanoes for a living, because they thought they knew what to watch for. They thought they had warning systems in place. But this was something they hadn't anticipated at this scale. On March 2nd, the H2S readings were at 12 parts per million around the Pozzuoli area. That's already higher than normal, but not catastrophically high yet. People weren't dropping dead. The air still seemed breathable. But scientists were watching it. By March 9th, just 7 days later, those same readings jumped to 52 parts per million. Let me put this in perspective for you, because this is important. The safe exposure limit for hydrogen sulfide that protects human health is 10 parts per million. So we're talking about gas concentrations that are 5 times higher than what's considered safe. I've seen some of you asking in comments about whether this is actually that dangerous. And honestly, I get the question. But yes, it is. This isn't like air pollution that makes you cough. This is a nerve gas. This is something that paralyzes your respiratory system. Some people are starting to notice things. Headaches, difficulty breathing, nausea. But they think it's just the weather, or stress, or something they ate. They don't realize what they're actually breathing in. The gas isn't coming from nowhere. It's coming from the volcano. Specifically, from deep underground, where the magma is heating sulfur deposits and creating gases that need to escape. But here's the thing. The speed at which this is happening suggests something major is shifting below the surface. The magma chambers are becoming more active. The pressure is increasing, and new fractures in the rock are opening up, creating pathways for gases to move upward faster than before. This isn't a gradual process anymore. This is acceleration. What terrifies geologists is that they can predict some volcanic activity. They can watch earthquake patterns. They can monitor ground deformation. But gas spikes like this, they're harder to predict. They can happen suddenly. They can intensify without warning. One scientist I found in research notes basically said, and I'm paraphrasing here, that if the underground system is destabilizing this quickly, we might be looking at a much shorter timeline than we thought. There's a woman named Lucia who works at a school in Pozzuoli. She started noticing something strange about 2 weeks ago. Kids coming to class complaining about headaches, some of them nauseous, a few actually vomiting. What breaks my heart about this is that these people are suffering, and they don't even know why. They're attributing it to stress or illness or random things when the actual answer is floating in the air around them, invisible and deadly. Hospitals in the region are starting to see more respiratory cases, more people with unexplained symptoms. Doctors are confused because the standard tests don't show anything obviously wrong. But something is affecting people, something in the environment. So this is my question to you. If you were living in Naples right now, and you started experiencing these symptoms, what would you do? Would you leave the city? Would you demand answers from the government? Would you trust that officials are protecting you? Emergency response systems in the region aren't equipped for a gas crisis like this. They're built for earthquakes. They're built for lava flow scenarios. But invisible poisonous gas spreading through the air? That's not what the protocols cover. So when this started happening, there was confusion, delay, bureaucracy. The hospitals are starting to get overwhelmed, not from massive casualties yet, but from confused patients showing up with symptoms doctors can't immediately explain. The standard emergency plans don't account for this. The ventilation systems in buildings aren't equipped to filter out hydrogen sulfide at these concentrations. People are leaving. Some families are packing up and getting out of the region without waiting for official evacuation orders. They see the signs. They feel something is wrong. They're not waiting for permission, but many others are staying because they haven't been told to leave. The H2S levels are still climbing. The underground pressure is still building. Scientists are still analyzing data and trying to figure out timelines. But here's the truth. They don't have all the answers. If they did, they would have already acted. What we know for certain is this: things are accelerating. Gas concentrations that were supposed to take months to reach are being reached in weeks. Patterns that geologists expected to see slowly are happening rapidly. So what does that mean for the people living there? What does it mean for the 3 million people in Naples? Best case scenario? This stabilizes. The pressure releases gradually, no eruption. Things calm down. But honestly, nobody studying this believes that's what's going to happen. And the worst part? There's a possibility, and I'm being honest with you here, that this gas spike isn't the main event. It could be a precursor to something bigger, larger gas releases, ground movements, or worse. Scientists are watching the data right now. They're running simulations. They're making decisions behind closed doors that will affect millions of people. And most of those people have no idea it's happening. So here's what I need from you. If you care about what's actually happening in the world, if you want real information instead of official silence, subscribe. Because we're covering this story as it develops. No filters. No waiting for permission.